In an ancient forest kingdom, where the wind moved softly through sour trees and the rivers spoke in low, patient voices, there lived a boy named Dhruva. He was born into a royal household, yet his heart knew neither ease nor welcome. His father was a king of great lineage, but the king's affection was divided, and the greater share did not fall to Dhruva. The king had two queens. The elder was gentle and reserved, and she was Dhruva's mother. The younger was proud and sharp of speech, and her son was named Uttama. The younger queen held the king's heart, and because of this, her words carried weight, while the elder queen learned to remain silent. In the palace halls, this difference was known, though it was rarely spoken aloud. Dhruva was still very young, yet he felt the world keenly. One day, while the court was gathered and the king sat upon his throne, Uttama climbed onto his father's lap. Dhruva, seeing this, followed with the simple trust of a child. He stepped forward, hoping to sit beside his brother, hoping for the same warmth and acknowledgement. Before he could reach the throne, the younger queen rose. Her voice was calm, but it cut like cold iron. "This seat is not for you," she said. "If you wish to sit on the king's lap, you must first be born from my womb. Go and pray for such a birth in another life." The court fell silent. Dhruva stood still, the meaning of her words sinking slowly into his heart. He looked to his father, hoping for correction, for comfort, for denial of what had just been said. But the king remained silent. His eyes turned away, and in that turning Dhruva understood more than words could have taught him. Without speaking, the child left the hall. He ran through the corridors until he reached his mother's chambers. There the elder queen saw her son's tears and drew him close. She asked what had happened, and Dhruva told her everything, each word heavy with hurt. His mother listened in silence. When he finished, she held him and spoke gently, though sorrow trembled beneath her voice. "What was said to you was cruel," she said, "but it was spoken from power. I do not possess. I cannot change what has been done. I cannot give you what you seek." Dhruva looked up at her. "Then what should I do?" She paused for a long moment. Then she said, "If you desire a place no one can deny, seek the one beyond all thrones. Seek the Lord who is greater than kings, who grants what cannot be taken away." Her words were not meant as command, but they fell into Dhruva's heart like sparks into dry grass. The hurt he felt did not fade, but it changed its shape. It became resolve. That very day, Dhruva left the palace. He was only a child, unaccustomed to hardship. Yet his feet carried him beyond the city walls, into the forest paths where the air grew cool and the trees stood close together. Servants called after him, but he did not turn back. He had been wounded deeply, and he believed there was only one way to heal that wound. As he walked, the sounds of the palace faded. The forest received him without question. Birds moved overhead, leaves stirred beneath his feet. The world did not mock him or turn him away. Before long, a sage appeared on the path before him. He was old, yet his presence was steady, like a mountain that had watched many seasons pass. This was Narada, the wandering seer, who traveled between worlds carrying the sound of the divine name. Narada looked at the boy and smiled, though his eyes were searching. "Where are you going, child?" he asked. Dhruva told him everything. He spoke of the throne, the words spoken to him, the silence of his father, and the fire that now burned in his chest. He said he wished to see the Lord of all beings, and to obtain a position so high that no one could ever deny him again. Narada listened carefully. Then he shook his head. "My child," he said, "what you desire is not easily attained. The path you speak of is hard, even for those who have renounced the world. You are young. Your body is tender. The forest is unforgiving. Go back to your home. In time these wounds will fade." But Dhruva did not waver. "I cannot return," he said. The words spoken to me remain. I will not find peace unless I reach the one who stands above all insult and favor." Narada studied him for a long moment. He saw not only the child before him, but the strength that lay hidden beneath the grief. At last he nodded. "Very well," he said. "If your resolve is firm, then I will not obstruct you." He taught Dhruva the way of stillness. He gave him a sacred name to hold in his heart, a form of the Lord to contemplate, and instructions suited to the boy's strength. He told him where to go and how to live, and then he departed, leaving Dhruva alone with the forest and his vow. Dhruva traveled deeper into the wilderness until he reached a quiet place by a river. There he began his practice. At first his body protested. Hunger came quickly. Cold nights followed warm days. Insects stung. Fear rose when strange sounds echoed in the dark. But Dhruva did not turn away. Day by day he steadied his breath and fixed his mind on the form he had been given. His resolve hardened into discipline. His grief thinned into concentration. The world narrowed until there was little left but the rhythm of his breath and the presence he sought. As time passed, his austerity deepened. He ate less. He slept less. His body grew thin, but his awareness sharpened. The forest itself seemed to take notice. Animals ceased to flee from him. The air around him grew still. It was said that as Dhruva stood unmoving, his focus became so complete that the balance of the worlds was disturbed. The breath of the cosmos felt strained, as though something essential had been drawn too tightly. The gods became uneasy. They felt the force of his practice and feared its outcome. They gathered and went to the Lord they all revered, seeking guidance. The Lord listened to them and smiled. "Do not be afraid," he said. "The boy's intent is pure, though born of pain. I will go to him." In the forest, Dhruva stood as he had for a long time, unaware of the gathering beyond his sight. Then, in a moment that seemed both sudden and eternal, the presence he had sought stood before him. The air changed. The forest brightened without light. Dhruva opened his eyes. Before him stood the Lord, vast and gentle, bearing the marks of eternity. The sight was overwhelming. Dhruva's breath caught. His mind, which had been so focused, now fell silent. He tried to speak, but no words came. The Lord looked upon him with compassion. He touched Dhruva lightly, and in that touch speech returned, not from the mouth alone, but from the depths of being. Dhruva bowed. Words poured from him then, not rehearsed, not planned. He praised the one before him, acknowledging his own smallness and the greatness he beheld. As he spoke, something within him shifted. The fire that had driven him softened. The wound that had sent him into the forest no longer ruled his heart. When the Lord asked him what he desired, Dhruva paused. He remembered the throne. He remembered the insult. But these now felt distant, like the concerns of another life. "I came seeking a position beyond all others," he said at last. "But having seen you, I find that what I sought was small. Still, I will not deny what brought me here." The Lord nodded. "You sought a place no one could take from you," he said. "That desire will be fulfilled. You will attain a station that endures beyond the turning of ages. But know this, the fulfillment you feel now does not come from what you will receive, but from what you have seen." The Lord told Dhruva of his future. He would return to the world. He would rule justly. And at the end of his life, he would ascend to a place fixed in the heavens, a position that would remain when others faded. Then, as gently as he had come, the Lord vanished. Dhruva stood alone once more in the forest. But he was not the same child who had entered it. His heart was steady. His mind was clear. He bowed once more to the empty air and turned back toward the world. When he returned to his father's kingdom, his appearance startled all who saw him. The thin boy who had left had returned with a presence that could not be ignored. His father rose from his throne and embraced him, tears filling his eyes. The younger queen stood silent, her pride shaken, while Dhruva's mother wept with relief and joy. In time, Dhruva grew and took his place as king. He ruled with fairness, remembering both the wound that had driven him away and the grace that had met him in the forest. He did not cling to power, nor did he diminish others, for he had learned how easily favor turns and how fragile pride can be. Years passed. Seasons rose and fell, as they always do. When Dhruva's time in the world came to its quiet close, the promise spoken in the forest was fulfilled. He laid aside his body without fear, and his journey did not end with the earth. He was carried beyond the powers of men and set in the heavens in a place that does not wander. Fixed and unmoving, he was established at the center of the turning sky. While stars rise and set, while constellations drift and ages pass, his station remains. That place is known as the pole star. All the heavens circle around it, yet it does not move. As Dhruva once stood firm in resolve, so he now stands firm in the cosmos itself, steady, silent, and enduring. Thus ends the story of Dhruva, the child who sought a throne, and was given instead a place that neither time nor change can overturn.